Hi, it's me JD and welcome back for another video. Today we will be making teacher cards. Be sure to hit the subscribe button now so you don't miss out on future videos, and we'll jump right into the first project. So the first card is a very clean and simple card. It features some die cutting and a little bit of ink blending. And so I have this cool flower die with this U word die. And first I'm going to start off with ink blending. I'm showing you my very fancy way of storing the ink pad, which is with painter's tape, right beneath the ink pad itself. And then I'm going to ink blend in the center out, and with Distress Oxide inks and Bristol paper, it's really easy to get a smooth result. As for the die cut, I'm just going to color in the leaves and the center of the flower just to give it a little more color. And then I'm going to be placing that with some strong glue over the ink blended part of my card front. After that's done, I'm going to cut the word U twice, and then I'm going to stack them just for a little added dimension, a little more pop to my card. Teachers are so caring and thoughtful and offer so much to our children's futures, and they should be spoiled any chance we can get to spoil them. While I have that ink pad out, I'm going to stamp the rest of the sentiment in the same color ink so it all coordinates. Then I'm going to trim it down and then pop it up with some foam tape next to my word die cut. I'll flip it over and trim off the excess and then add some clear dewdrops to the front, and this card is finished. And what's great is that this card works for like a tutor as well, or a babysitter. It doesn't have to be for a teacher necessarily. Next teacher card features incorporating a fun word search element. I remember doing word searches in grade school, and so when I found this stamp set, I thought this would be perfect to make teacher cards with. And so it has a word search, but it has some phrases that you can easily find, such as the best or how you doing. So I decided to use to highlight the words the best, and then add this fun teacher word die cut. And instead of just adding one die cut, I'm going to stack them, but I'm going to stack the black one slightly offset from the white one just to create a little bit of a shadow. And then I'm going to add some really strong adhesive to the back of that. I also added some Nuvo drops to the magnifying glass just for a little something special to this card, a little more shininess. And this card is finished. The next card features a shaker card with a really cool layered stamped apple in the middle. So with this stamp set, I stamped the first layer in the lightest shade of ink, and then the second layer in the next darkest shade of ink, and then same with the leaves. It's only 2 steps, so stamping this apple was really easy, except I cannot get this one ink cube open. Like, yeah, seriously, it was hard. I need to work out more. And then once I stamp the leaf, I'm going to stamp this little, the rest of the apple here. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiment. And then as I'm looking at my card front, I'm realizing that it's a little higher than I want it to be. Like, I wanted the apple to be in the center of the shaker frame. As you can see, I'm building my shaker frame with some acetate here. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put my shaker frame a little bit higher on my card front, just to offset it a little and make the apple more centered. So I'll just mark where I need to cut off the excess, and then I'll put it in my trimmer and just trim it down, and then no one will need to know the difference. First, I'm going to add foam tape to the back of my shaker frame. I always double up on my foam tape. I obviously don't show you in the camera view right now. I don't know why. Okay, noted. JD, let's have people actually see what you're doing. Apparently, I like to create shaker cards on my lap. Anyway, I'm going to add foam tape all around my frame, and then I'm going to dust the inside with this powdery thingy to remove some static, so my shaker bits all move around freely. And then I'm going to attach my newly trimmed card front to another card front, a new card front, and I put it on the wrong way. And then I'm going to attach it correctly this time so that it's centered, and then I'm just going to put my frame up to make sure that it's exactly where I want it to be. The next part is filling my shaker card with all the fun shaker bits. So I'm adding red sequins and silver sequins. And now I'm going to peel up the foam tape carefully, and then I'm going to center this over my card front and creating a dam for all those sequin bits. I love how all of the sequins are moving so freely. I really like when shaker cards really shake. The next card features some, get ready for it, coloring from me. I know, it's a momentous occasion. Well, this metal die certainly calls for some rainbow goodness, but I didn't want to have to run it through the die cutting machine like 5 times with different colors, so I decided to color it. And so I'm pulling out my Copics for this. I'm showing you how I store my Copics and plus the accessories that come with it in this cool bag. It actually breaks in two, so it could go like flush up against a wall if you're short on desk space. And I love it because I cannot color in one place. Like I have 2 young children, so I have to craft when I can. And so I'm either like coloring on the dining room or maybe outside on the patio while my kids are playing for a little bit. At soccer practice. So I really love this bag, and it has some sections for different colors, and for the section that doesn't have the already made slot, I just put them in like Ziploc bags. Okay, so once I picked out my colors, I'm going to color each piece a different color of the rainbow. And I realized that the key to making a smooth wash or finish with Copic markers is similar to watercoloring. Like you don't want the ink to get dry. So you just got to keep it moving, and then with some practice, you'll get a nice smooth blend on there. I'm going to put my markers away. I just wanted to show you my fancy bag. All right, and next I'm going to pop each of these colored pieces back onto my card front, and I'm going to use the negative part of the die cut to help frame these pieces. This is actually the rest of the doubled up foam tape that I used on the previous shaker card. Someone needs to make like double up foam tape or like thicker foam tape just so I can, stop doubling up and wasting it and filming it off camera so you can't see. Anyway, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there, and, I think this card is perfect the way it is. I'm going to put it on a fog card base just to help frame it up a little, and then this card is done. For the final card, I will be throwing it back to the classrooms of yesteryear by making a chalkboard card. I say that because I feel like today's classrooms are so high-tech compared to when I went to school. I mean, there's smart boards, screens, touch screens. The other day, I was looking at registration for my son to go to kindergarten, and they're like, oh, by the way, they get an iPad to use for the rest of the year. And I said, iPad? What? Times certainly have changed. Anyway, I heat embossed this sentiment in white embossing powder on black cardstock because I will be making a chalkboard looking card, and so I'm gonna stamp my main image in the center, and I want to heat emboss it because I want it to stand out. And as for the rest of these images, I'm going to kind of stamp them in like white pigment ink, so they're still there, but they stand out a little bit less. It's more of a ghost effect. And using the MISTI is great for this because I can ink all of these up at once and then swing the door over and then have my images all stamped, except they don't stamp. Okay, take 2, and it's that one little you rule stamp that's like kind of messing everything up here, so that stamp does not rule. No problem, I'm just going to put it on an acrylic block and stamp it the regular way. I'm going to stamp some other images there to help fill in the space. And then once that's done, I'm going to take a paper towel and dip it in the pigment ink and kind of swipe it across my surface just to get like a real chalkboard dust effect to it. And then I use a rectangular die set to cut out my chalkboard frame. Excuse my baby hair that gets in the way. I had a baby recently, so my baby hair is out of control right now. And then I'm going to trim off the excess where that frame didn't cover, and so let's recap. We got this first clean and simple You Make the World a Better Place card that can go for a teacher, a tutor, a director, a principal, what have you. Then we have this word search card, which reminds me of all those worksheets we had to do in school. Next, I have this fun shaker card for teacher, which features an apple in the middle. I also have foam tape, rogue foam tape that escaped from my collection. Just ignore that. Thanks. Okay, bye. Then there is this cool rainbow heart die featuring a fabulous popped up heart die from Simon Says stamp and a perfect sentiment to go along with it. Finally, a throwback card to the classrooms of the past with this cool chalkboard inspired card. Alright, that does it for me. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and let me know which of these cards were your favorite down in the comments. Thanks!